Now we know that it started with Mother, but Mother needed some accomplices. We need to discover how RuPaul's Drag Race became one of the pillars of the LGBT community and who helped RuPaul to pitch and produce the show. Randy Barbato and Fenton Bailey met in the early 80s while studying film at university. They bonded over their love for pop culture and claimed that it is the engine of Western civilization. Prior to founding World of Wonder in 1991, the boys formed a synth duo called the Fabulous Pop-Tarts. What a name, bitch. During this time, the boys actually dated despite breaking up in 2003. They performed their comedic, cheerleader-like routines in bars like the Pyramid Club, where RuPaul was also performing. According to Barbato, their shows were more like pep rallies than gigs. We were stunt queens. We would have props, white afro wigs and flags, an all-girl band. It was cheerleading rather than singing. Barbato and Bailey spotted RuPaul in the Marriott Hotel in New York for the first time in the 80s. 6'4" RuPaul was sporting a loincloth, a mohican and shoulder pads, of course he was. And from this moment, prior to any success from any TV show, the boys just knew that RuPaul was destined for fame. Now, World of Wonder found its name from a cheesy comic that Bailey read when he was younger. The name was almost really authentic and seemed to express a profound truth about the boys and the community. It's that sense of other, the freak, the unnatural. It really is a wonder. WOW was originally a record label and management company with the intention of helping to boost their friends' careers, like RuPaul. Their own music career was never the long-term goal. It was a creative means to an end in order to fund enough money for their filmic and cinematic goals. They wanted to create documentarian-style content about the LGBT community and the lives of queer people. Whilst their company was becoming more established in the early 90s, the boys actually helped RuPaul through his first influx of fame with the album Supermodel, You Better Work, Bitch. Now, the boys had had no previous managerial experience, so why did RuPaul choose them? They say that it is their stick-with-it attitude, but who knows? But Barbato says that he always took RuPaul seriously, and RuPaul appreciated that, especially in the time of the 80s. I mean, drag queens were clowns. The documentarian style of content really began to grow throughout the 90s. For example, Bailey and Barbato gave 10 LA residents camcorders in order to document their experience after the Rodney King riots. In 1995, they established an office in London above the Body Shop in Brixton. They then launched Takeover TV, which featured budding stars like Graham Norton and Alexander Armstrong. The money made from their music and other side stints that we have briefly spoken about allowed them to gather enough money to create the company World of Wonder that we know it is today. However, it was a specific event in 2007 that really allowed the boys to expand their potential horizons beyond what they ever thought they could. This was when Ahmed Van Houten directly sampled one of the Fabulous Pop-Tarts songs. This was called New York City Beat, and I'm going to play the original song by the Fabulous Pop-Tarts and the version by Armand, and we will see how similar they are, because girl, it is literally daylight robbery. A rip off, honey. Now, it was never disclosed how much the boys received, but when asked about it, Bailey was pretty much blushing, so we can imagine it was a pretty penny. Now, in the early 2000s, they really began to ramp up with their queer lifestyle content. Oh my god. In the early 2000s is when the boys really focused on documentaries surrounding LGBT life. The documentary-style reality show focused on 2 trans men and 2 trans women throughout their college academic year of 2004 and 2005. WoW even garnered some critical acclaim and even won a GLAAD award for Outstanding Documentary in 2006. Now, establishing Drag Race and coming up with the concept was not an easy feat. Remember how in the last video about Mother Ru, we talked about how she did not like the competition aspect of Drag Race and the pitch that the boys created for the show? I mean, she was really against pitting other drag styles against each other. Mother Ru desperately threw things out there in order to try and change the idea of a competition style show. She even suggested a telenovela, which, no, and I'm glad it didn't happen. In Ru's words, I wasn't interested in doing anything that was going to cast drag in a negative light or ridicule it, but the winds of change changed my mind, RuPaul said. The Obama movement was happening, and I could feel it in my bones that it was time. Now, before creating a deal with Logo, WoW received a plethora of no's from different networks. Many networks had criticised World of Wonder's content for being too political, otherwise too gay. Barbato and Bailey recall being told no more drag queens by the Manhattan Commissioner, and that's what I have to say to you, Manhattan Commissioner. They originally imagined the show airing on E or Bravo, however they both turned World of Wonder down. I bet E is kicking themselves considering they do all of the press for Drag Race nowadays. They really were like, we can't do drag. You know we can't do drag. You get it, don't you? No drag, we can't do it. What will the straights think? But finally, it was Logo TV that would agree to the competition surrounding drag queens. Logo TV, we love you. Logo TV aired a variety of different shows like reality shows, movies, dating shows, and these were all queer-centric. An example of one of these shows is Rick and Steve, the happiest gay couple in all the world, which originally Drag Race was meant to be a replacement for, which is crazy to even think about because the shows are not even in the same realm whatsoever. Drag Race really was and is a collaborative project. Campbell, who is now World of Wonder's Chief Creative Officer, came up with the format of the show and the name, whilst the producers and RuPaul came up with the challenges based off of RuPaul's career and early struggles. It was Labor Day 2008 and RuPaul was in a friend's house looking over the horizon of Los Angeles, and production was ready to kick off for the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race the following day. RuPaul said this upon reflecting about his future at the time. I remember being in that water on such a hot day thinking from this moment on my life will be very different, and absolutely has been since that day. Drag Race Season 1 filmed whilst Bush was still in office but aired after the inauguration of Obama. Now this birthed Drag Race's first viral meme/hit with the Ru-Obama poster, where RuPaul was posed as both Michelle and Barack Obama. It's pretty iconic. RuPaul's Drag Race Season 1 premiered on Logo TV on the 2nd of February 2009. The first season ended on March 23rd the same year, and of course casted 9 fabulous contestants in order to compete for the title of America's Next Drag Superstar. The winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 1 received a lifetime supply of MAC cosmetics. They was also featured in an LA Eyeworks campaign and won 20,000 doll hairs, which is literally a tenth of what the prize is now, which is crazy. When it comes to reception, the initial reception upon release was very mixed. Whilst the show now has a cult following and has mainstream success, it wasn't always this way to begin with. I mean, a lot of critics didn't understand the show, didn't understand drag queens. Although one thing was for sure, RuPaul's charismatic hosting really garnered enough audience attention to have it renewed for a season 2. But yes, despite the low budget, critics were surprisingly quite positive and ready to see what Drag Race had to offer to TV audiences. I mean, of course, there was a few hate crimes, some homophobic attacks, you know, the usual. But generally speaking, Drag Race came across really, really well. People were genuinely inspired with the strength of these queens to tell their personal stories. Who knows, without the personal and touching side of the show back in 2009, it really may not have lasted and become a cult classic like we know it today. It's a really unique aspect of the show that queer people and even people beyond our community can relate to. It humanises these queens and really brings them down to earth as people that we can relate to. However, one moment in season 1 truly memorialised the show and laid out the frameworks for the touching and educational aspects that we expect from Drag Race today. And that moment was on Gina sharing her status of being HIV positive.
I've been living with HIV for the last 2 years of my life, and this means so much to me.
This was during the Mac Fever Glam challenge, which was also an ode to RuPaul. The New York Times even remarked the show as surprisingly non-toxic and a very supportive environment. Even co-creator of the show, Bailey, has agreed that the queens sharing their stories is a fundamental aspect of the show, and who knows how popular it would be without it. In his eyes, it is what makes Drag Race so special. Now, season 1 is often referred to as the lost season due to lower production values and limited accessibility. However, bitch, thank you, Miss Season 1. Thank you, Miss Season 1 girls, because without season 1, girl, there would be no Drag Race. It laid the foundations and the blueprints of what we can expect from Drag Race today. I mean, these girls really were the guinea pigs and they gave their life and soul to this competition, hence why we have had so many seasons since. I mean, it has clearly paved the way for over 70 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race internationally, all franchises, but over 70 seasons. I mean, without season 1, girl, we wouldn't have had another 69. Ooh, 69, feeling fine. Now, season 1 wasn't measured by the Nelson family yet, so we have to take the statistics from season 2, in which 300,000 watched the premiere of season 2. So we can imagine that maybe about 100,000, around that number, watched the premiere of season 1, which for the first drag show of its kind is pretty sickening. I mean, although not matching up to the viewership heights that we have today, season 1 being watched by 100,000 little gay boys from across the country is just so heartwarming to me. I mean, people watching their TV on volume 1, I know I was one of them girlies, just to be able to watch Drag Race in secret and feeling that sense of belonging. I mean, RuPaul said it best when he found his tribe in the punk era that he was in, and I think that RuPaul's Drag Race has really allowed so many people to find their own tribe, including myself. The goal of the show really was to uplift our community, but also educate those narrow-minded fuckwits out there. Yes, I'm talking to you. Because from viewership statuses, we can recognise that most of the people that watch RuPaul's Drag Race are actually women. I mean, I'm sure you're queer women. Queer women. Why can't I say that? Queer women. But hello, straight girlies out there too. I mean, the show isn't just for the gay community, it's for wider audiences too. So it's important to educate. And I mean, this goal was already being reached in some ways by episode 1 of season 1. So, season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race has just aired, and there is another season on the way. But with only a fraction of the viewership that we have today, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? No. How in the hell did RuPaul's Drag Race become the cultural phenomenon that it is today with millions of fans across the globe? That is what we are going to find out in the next video. But if you liked this part, please give it a thumbs up. Go and check out part 1 to this series. It starts with Mother. Link will be in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on all my social medias. Links will be in the motherfucking description. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye. I'm ready to show them how these bitches are on them. Got that supermodel switch. Miss Palacia, real bad bitch. Let me rock this mic. Leave him in my dust like Tina did. I'm sickening, no, and I'm real fierce too. Chicago in the house, girl. What you gonna do? About to shut it down. Come on, Mama Ru with the queen, her crown. I approve this message, and all I'm gonna say is I'm Shay Kool-Aid, and I always Bring it to the runway. 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 Bring it to the runway.